The Night King has 100 of Craster's children. Sam and Gilly have baby Sam, Cersei's pregnant, and all signs suggest that Daenerys is going to have a baby too. What's going to happen to all these children? The first two are easy. Maggie the Frog prophesies that Cersei would have 3 children. Cersei has already had 3 children, so she's not going to have another. Bet on her having a miscarriage or dying while pregnant. Imagine Jaime or Brienne, who is a younger sibling if you didn't know, and could be the Valonqar. Imagine one of them takes out Cersei while she's preggers. That'd be freaking rough, especially if Jaime has to do it. Imagine the look on his face as he kills her, with his own child inside of her. Nikolai Costa-Waldau is amazing. He could pull this off for sure, and I'll probably cry. Who would have thought? Crying when Cersei dies. Number 2, Dany and Jon's child. Dany misinterpreted Mirri Maz Duur's prophecy, and as a result, many fans are too. The prophecy was about Khal Drogo. Mirri never said Dany can't have a child. She said Dany won't see Khal Drogo again until she has a child. So yeah, it sucks. But Dany's gonna die in childbirth, just like Tyrion's mom, Jon's mom, and her own. It was foreshadowed in the show. Bitter, but the sweet side is that her child lives, foreshadowed when Jorah told Jon that Longclaw will be his child sword once Jon passes on. Alright, here's the big one, the Night King's children. What's gonna happen to them? In order to figure this out, we're gonna take a look at 8 things from a storytelling perspective. The fate of the children, the nature of songs, the villain is a hero of the other side, foreshadowing parallels and foreshadowing chance encounters, stolen boots, the art of healing, broken men, and the Book of Brothers. Craster had 101 sons, and the Night King got all of them but one, since Sam and Gilly are kleptos. Yet the most White Walkers that we've ever seen in a single scene is 12. That's because the Ice Children are not fighting in this war. They're in the Lands of Always Winter right now. If Beric is right, all of Baby Sam's half-brothers will die if they kill the Night King. From a storytelling perspective, there's no chance that this is going to happen. Not again, not on Jon's watch. Here's why. Remember that scene where Maester Aemon spoke to Jon about duty and honor, because Jon was tempted to break his vow and join Robb Stark in the war. Maester Aemon revealed who he was.
You're Aemon Targaryen.
Maester Aemon had had 3 trials, once as a boy, once in the fullness of his manhood, and once as a man grown old. The final trial was Robert's Rebellion, the downfall of House Targaryen. The second relates to the Great Council of 233 AC, when Maester Aemon turned down the crown because he was a sworn Maester of the Citadel. And the third relates to love. There are clues in the books, and the show threw it right in our faces.
I met many girls when I was Aemon Targaryen. Some of them were quite forward in their attempts to win my affections. One of them succeeded. I can see her right in front of me. She's more real than you are.
Jon has also been tested 3 times already. Very similar, once to join Robb in his family's war, once for power, when Stannis offered to legalize Jon and give him Winterfell, and once for love, Ygritte. But the key takeaway from that dialogue came at the very end. Aemon tangented to the children, Rhaegar's children, Rhaenys and the first Aegon, victims of war, murdered at the hands of Tywin Lannister's men. Aemon mentioned them with extreme pain and regret. Listen to it.
When I heard they had killed my brother's son, and his poor son, and the children, even the little children.
So once again, we're brought back to this huge theme, the children. The story started with the children of the forest, and it will end with the hopes of a better world for the children of tomorrow. From a storytelling perspective, they cannot kill the Night King, or Baby Sam's half-brothers are going to die. But this assumes that the Ice Children are not the White Walkers that we see in battle. To prove that, let's start at the beginning. Supposedly, the first men came to Westeros and warred the Singers, aka the Children of the Forest. The Singers created the White Walkers to fight back, but eventually, the Singers and men grew tired of war and made a pact, at the God's Eye, the Isle of Faces. Thousands of years later, the White Walkers came back. The songs sing of a dude called the Last Hero, who had 12 companions. He found the children and then pushed back the others to the Lands of Always Winter. Then, they built a magical wall and started the Night's Watch. The first fort was called the Night Fort, commanded by the Night's King of history and lore, the 13th Lord Commander. He fell in love with another. Legend describes her as a White Walker, but maesters believe that she was the daughter of a Barrow King. Bran the Breaker and Joramun, King Beyond the Wall, who might have been a giant, took them down. The Night's King's name was banned and his records were erased. A few thousand years later, the Andals arrive and written history begins. That's the framework, but the only thing that we know to be true here is that the children created the White Walkers because
we were at war.
We're going to come back to the fate of the children, but let's take a look at topic 2, the nature of songs. As we just said, written history did not start until the Andals arrived. In other words, a lot of history and lore is based off of songs, passed down from generation to generation. Sam mentioned this to Jon in the books, and HBO snuck it into one of their history and lore videos as well. Check it out.
but nobody thought to write down the story until thousands of years later, and the Septons who did it weren't much for accuracy. I mean, they have knights bumbling around thousands of years before they were knights. Sorry, bad habit.
So people's understanding of the far past is based off of songs, and songs are unreliable. Keep in mind, the Starks weren't always Ned Stark type Starks. They were hard men in hard times, killers. They eradicated countless houses from existence. They banned the Night King's name and erased his history. Why? To cover the truth up. 4 clues support this. Number 1, Bran asked what he needed to learn, and Jojen told him truths, forgotten now in Winterfell. Number 2, Maester Aemon said, knowledge is a weapon, Jon. Arm yourself well before you ride forth to battle. Number 3, Lord Commander Jon commanded Sam to read and find out about the others, and not just how to kill them, they already knew that, but who the others are, where they came from, and what they want. And last, as he was dying, Maester Aemon said, even the most fanciful song may hold a kernel of truth. Find that truth for me, Sam. All 4 of those imply the same thing. They need to learn something big, which brings us to point 3, words from George R. R. Martin's very own mouth. The villain is a hero of the other side. So the Night King's not a placeholder villain. There's no chance. He has a backstory and a purpose. Odds are he is fighting for those children. The best theory so far relates to weirwoods. He was made at a weirwood tree, so presumably his power is derived through weirwood.net, through blood sacrifices at weirwood trees, like Ned washing off his sword there. Melisandre's already burnt down weirwoods at Storm's End, and the Faith of R'hllor wants to burn them all down. Kill the weirwoods and you kill him, and his children. He's a villain, no doubt, but he's a hero to the other side. Jon asked Sam to find out who they are, where they came from, and what they want. Bran and Sam are going to do just that in Season 8. What will they find out? Y'all know where I stand. The Night's King of history and lore is the Night King, but I got a new clue from you, from a storytelling perspective. The answer lies in numbers 4 and 5, foreshadowing parallels and chance encounters. This dude was probably the first White Walker, the first Night King. He's got a crown, and COA is a good tea. So unless the artist was drunk, then this guy is not the Night King that we know and love, meaning the Night King was not the first White Walker. Then wait, who was he? Robert's rebellion was built on a lie. Rhaegar didn't kidnap Lyanna, they were in love. And that was just 17 years ago. Think it's ever happened before? You betcha. The Night's King was a Stark bastard. The songs south of the Wall sing about a wildling named Bael stealing a Stark girl and impregnating her in the crypts of Winterfell. But the songs north of the Wall sing of a love story. My money's on the love story. The Stark girl was the only heir at the time, so it's not hard to imagine that the Stark girl was forced to marry someone that she didn't love later on, to make a legal Stark child to carry on the Stark name. It's par for the course. Women in Westeros are abused and constantly forced into marriages. It's total BS. So in theory, she had a trueborn Stark. The bastard became the 13th Lord Commander, and eventually, Simeon Stareyes saw 2 hellhounds go to war at the Night Fort, 2 wolves, the bastard Snow and his trueborn half-brother, Brandon the Breaker. The bastard's name is probably Jon Snow. Check out that video. Regardless, the Night King of the Night Fort became the Night King we know, and I've got some new evidence. Support from a storytelling perspective. Point number 5. Foreshadowing chance encounters. What are Bran and Sam doing right now? Trying to figure Ish out. They figured out one lie, and I believe they're going to figure out another. Remember, Jon commanded Sam to figure this out. Well, where did Bran and Sam first cross paths? The Night Fort. The very place where the Night's King of history and lore ruled. So it's all coming full circle. Bran and Sam crossed paths at the Night Fort. Now they cross paths a second time and uncovered a lie. And in Season 8, the big reveal is coming, and it's about the guy who ruled at the place where Bran and Sam first met, the Night's King. Beautiful freaking writing. Now we're going to go deep like Derek Lewis after last night's win. Point 6. Stolen boots. In the books, Maester Aemon doesn't die at the Wall. He dies on the way down in the Citadel with Sam. Jon also sent Darion as a recruiter, because he was a good singer. His own song was a sad one though. His lord sent him to the Wall for rape, when in truth, the lord's daughter liked him. She wanted him. So that's BS, life imprisonment, because
the lord I've ever met's been a cunt.
Darion was forced to fight against free folk and then a dead army, even though he did nothing wrong, so he was broken. Once a healer said that Maester Aemon could not be healed, Darion ditched his vows, in Braavos, so Sam attacked him and Arya ended up killing him. Arya then stole his boots. Very ironic, because she never walked in his shoes. Had she done that, she'd have known that he did not deserve to die. Think about the Night King. We saw him converted against his will here. So most likely, the story about the last hero and his 12 companions saving the day, it's BS. He was forced into eternal frozen hell. That's why the Starks banned his name and erased all his records. It was a cover-up. The last hero story is a lie. Sneaky Stark bastards. Which brings us to point 7, Broken Men. This is a huge theme, very important to George, and it's my favorite passage in the entire series, focusing on Sandor. But Sandor's not the only one. There are all types of broken men and women and children. Lady Cat became a broken woman the day she was told that Bran and Rickon were murdered. She let go of her dying father's hand that day, and figuratively speaking, she let go of another father's hand. The father above. War broke her and broke her faith in the Seven. Like we just mentioned, Darion was a broken man, drowning himself in wine, but he finally started smiling again. His darkness was fading because he escaped wrongful imprisonment. He was brightening the days of those around him at the brothels, other broken men who had sailed into port. Until Arya killed him. Jaime was broken, Theon was broken, Sandor was broken, Arya was broken, Jon was broken, Sansa was broken, Stannis was broken, even Cersei was broken. It goes on and on. War sucks. As Thoros said, some nights are dark and full of terrors, my lady. War makes monsters of us all. Notice the spelling of the word nights there. Well played, George, well played. Septim Merrybold told Bran, the traveler must beware of broken men, and fear them, but he should pity them as well. Which leads us into the next topic, the art of healing. We've seen all types of healing. Sam didn't want to go to the Citadel, because becoming a maester means becoming a healer, and blood, ew. But our boy healed Jorah, and that was no joke. I could not have done it. Way to go, Sam. Sam couldn't have done it without Gilly. Emotionally, Gilly's been his healer, his lightbringer. Technically, Qyburn's the most knowledgeable healer in the world. He has the best understanding of life and death. But don't sell Bran short. Jaime would not have emotionally healed without her. She's his lightbringer. And then we've got Thoros. You can't deny Thoros' healing abilities. His boys say that there's no better healer. And keep in mind, there is no Lord of Light. Thoros healed Beric by himself, leveraging the oldest and strongest power out there, just like Gilly to Sam, like Rhaegar and Jorah when they won their joust, and just like Dany when she hatched the dragons, namely, love. We could go on and on, but we'll wrap up this section with Sandor. He's no longer the Hound, he's Sandor Clegane. Ray healed Sandor's leg, and partially his heart.
Never too late to come back.
It's never too late to come back. It's never too late to come back. Never. Bold words, Ray. Well, we've got another broken man. A dude who was imprisoned wrongly, just like Darion. A dude who lost a lover, just like Jon. A dude who had beef with his brother, just like Sandor. And loves his children, just like Sam and Gilly. He was imprisoned against his will into a cold, unforgiving eternity beyond the wall. And let's be real, he's way too OP. There's only one way to stop him. You gotta heal him. How so? Dragonglass. Stannis told Sam in the books that there are a few different colors of dragonglass, mostly black, but there's some green as well, some red, and even purple. And in the show, they showed us green dragonglass at Hardhome. This page here suggests that dragonglass has healing properties, but it was not one of the ingredients used to cure Jorah. Moreover, Archmaester Marwyn told Sam, study and forge your chain. A time will come when they need you up north. So we've got 3 of Chekhov's guns here. Green dragonglass, healing properties, and a prophesized mission for Sam the Slayer. They are going to heal this mofo, and in effect, save baby Sam's half-brothers. Pretty sweet. Of course, it's going to be bitter too. Aside from the hundreds of thousands of people who have already died, and the thousands more who will die in Season 8, Jon and Dany are probably going to die too. Dany in childbirth, foreshadowed by Mirri Maz Duur, and Jon on the battlefield, or the operating table, depending on how you want to look at it. Because the Night King isn't going to just lay down. He's not asking for help, and Jon knows this. Jon's going to heal him, but it's going to come at the cost of Jon's own life. And this isn't a bad thing. To be honest, the Night's Watch vow is about walls, so it can't be referring to this one big-ass wall. Walls plural, the walls between life and death. The Whites are breaking those walls. Beric is breaking that wall, Jon is breaking that wall, and by stealing people's life fire to avoid death, Dany and Melisandre are also breaking those walls. Our boy Darion had the right of it. There are no happy endings. Beric, Jon, Dany, and Mel are all living on borrowed time.
You shouldn't be alive. It's not right.
So point number 9, the Book of Brothers. Jaime is on a quest to fill out the pages of the White Book with good deeds.
There's still time.
2 swords are made from Ned Stark's own steel. Jaime named one of them Oathkeeper and gave it to Brienne to go find and protect Sansa, and he's got the other, Widow's Wail. Cool, but that's not enough. His final deed might be saving King's Landing from his sister, paralleling the time that he killed his father, Mad King Aerys, for the very same reason, to stop them from blowing up the city. But this time, the term Queenslayer is going to be looked at as a good thing, and the people of King's Landing are going to be screaming out, King Jaime, Kingslayer, Kingslayer, Queenslayer, woo! That'd be poetic enough, I dig it, but I'd like him to get one more line in that White Book, something that circles back to the overriding theme of the story as a whole, the children. When Jaime finally started wanting to be a dad to Myrcella and Tommen, he lost them. And Jaime Lannister failed to protect Rhaegar's first 2 children when his fake father Tywin sacked King's Landing. After Jaime lost his sword hand, Jaime fell asleep with his head on a weirwood stump and had a fever dream. In that dream, Rhaegar and Jaime's sworn brothers appeared, and they chastised him for this, for not protecting the children. So Jaime's final good deed in the Book of Brothers, the White Book, should relate to the children. If Jon and Dany both die, which I suspect that they will, there's not a single person alive who would be as hell-bent on protecting and nurturing their child, and Rhaegar's grandchild, as Sir Jaime, Kinslayer, Kingslayer, Queenslayer Lannister. King Jaime and Queen Brienne, mark my words, and Lady Brienne better get a page in that book as well. The girls earned it.